while you're doing that, I wanted to, first of all, just welcome you here and say thank you for making time very early this morning. I've already spoken to a few people about how these early morning meetings make our lives a little crazy. So I recognize that, and I thank you for jumping through a few extra hoops this morning to be here. We have a wonderful collection of some of the finest healthcare providers in our area here in this room. I just kept saying to our board of directors that this is probably one of the top 2 events that we are hosting this year in terms of its importance and its impact. As you already know, healthcare in the community, the Hartselle area, has changed significantly over the last 10 years. And some of those changes have been terrific. Some of them have just required us to adjust a little bit and learn new ways. But we all see that there's an opportunity for change and for growth. So that's what we're here today about. Quality healthcare in a community is a pillar to economic strength and economic development. And that's really what the Chamber exists to do, is to help build a better economy, or really to just bring prosperity and wealth into a community, to ensure prosperity and wealth in a community, as well as to increase the quality of life for those that live here. So all of those things can't be done alone. They have to be done in partnership. And that partnership is not just us here, but it's being done at a regional level and at a state level, which makes me really excited because we do have some of our state representatives here. Arthur Orr, Scott Stodhagen, Parker Moore, and I believe Terry Collins is here as well. And I hope that you all will take an opportunity to speak with them, to just express anything that is on your mind that you need assistance with as you're trying to fill a gap here in our community. We also have our local representatives, our local government representatives. We have Mayor Garrison here. And we also have Dwight Tankersley, and I know we have Ken Dawes, and I believe I saw Virginia Alexander as well. So thank you all for making time to be here. This is very important. The things about healthcare that we as the Chamber recognize that are important are, number one, access. Of course, we want our community to have the best access possible, and we recognize that that's important. Also affordability and the quality of their care. And also just, it's essential because it enables us as a community to be able to adapt and recover quickly from natural disasters or economic downturns like what we've recently been going through. But another thing about it is that healthcare is one of the largest employers in a community. Healthcare provides some of the best paying jobs. It brings in professionals into our community, which of course raise the educational level in our community. So we want your presence here. We also need your presence here because you serve as a convener for community stakeholders. Everyone has a need for healthcare. Everyone is coming through your doors, and you have the ability to bring people to the table like no other organization does. We also need your leadership. As I said, you probably have a better handle on the makeup of the community and the intimate needs of a community than almost anyone else in this room, because you are addressing those intimate personal concerns. And so we need your leadership. We need you serving on boards. We need you involved in chamber activities so that we can hear your perspectives and know how to respond to our community needs. And we as the Chamber, we just want to vow to you that we will work with you to help grow community support for your practices, for your services. We also want to assist you in finding solutions to the healthcare challenges that you have. And we want to work with you to expand healthcare services in our area. So again, I just want to say thank you for being here. We've got a full agenda. We have many people that have helped make this possible. I want to recognize those real quickly, if I can find my list here. Just one second. Our presenting sponsor today is Hartselle Family Medicine. So thank you very much, Hartselle Family Medicine, for helping make this possible. Our gold sponsors today, Life Work Therapy Services. Mike Tucker is the owner of that and also serves on our board. DOC, or Decatur Orthopedic Clinic, Sports Medicine, and the Coleman Regional Hartselle Health Park. Those are our 3 gold sponsors today, so thank you to each of you. Our silver sponsors, table sponsors, we have Cedar Street Primary Care and Hartselle Eye Care. We also have a few others that purchase tables. And then our guest services sponsor is Corman Building, am I saying that? Corums Building Supply. He's a different, he built our house, I should know how to say his name. And then our bronze sponsors is Hartselle Utilities and Marmac Real Estate. So thank you again for all you're doing to make this possible. We're going to move right into our next item on our agenda. We would like to do a 15-minute presentation. I saw this at our ambassador meeting. Jamie Bates with Allstate Insurance. She is an Allstate Insurance agent here locally. Are you in the room, Jamie? I didn't know you were here. There she is. She's standing back by the door. She also serves as one of our ambassadors. And she brought a gentleman to come and share about workplace wellness. And I was so impacted by this presentation, I asked if he would come and do it here because I thought you would find it very helpful and provoke you with some brand new ideas. His name is Kent Howard, and he is a field benefits leader and a certified worksite wellness specialist with Allstate Insurance. So I'm going to let him get started. And he has with him Karen Quigley. Would you like, okay, just run to the table. Okay, here we go. Turn that over to you.
Hey, thank you, Missy. I hope I can remember what we spoke about a couple weeks ago. So we'll see how it comes out.
Great.
Hey, thank you for having me in this morning, and appreciate the opportunity to visit with you. I want to get our first presentation. Go ahead, Karen. Go ahead. One more slide. All right, I'm going to get, this is the participatory part of the talk. Okay, we get started early. What keeps you up at night? Think about that for a second. What is it that keeps you up at night? You don't have to share it. You don't have to blurt it out. Okay. All right, Karen, go ahead. Does it fall into one of these 3 categories? Family, health, money? Well, you know what? That's what connects us all. That's what keeps us all up at night. Doesn't matter what you do for a living, how much money you make, where you live, that's what keeps us up at night. And ironically, that's also what gets us up in the morning. So let's drill down a little bit further down at health, okay? And I'll read this because you might not be able to see it in the back, okay? But access to health in Alabama, okay? When you have 50 employees or less, 6 out of 10 employers don't offer an employer-sponsored plan. And the big reason why is a lot of cost involved with it. And if you're fortunate to have an employer-sponsored health plan, your premium is probably somewhere around $6,500 on average for an individual and over $17,000 for a family. That impacts access. And if you do have access, your deductible, it might be $1,600 or $3,000 for a family. And then if you look up here to the right, you see 48%, 41%, 69%. These are percentages of individuals that talk about, I don't have $1,000 in my checking account. Okay? I'm worried about retirement. My deductible's too high. These are the concerns that access to health care cause in our community. And you compound that when you look at Alabama's health rankings, okay? In any metric that you want to look at. You look at high blood pressure, you look at physical inactivity, fruits and vegetables, okay? I wasn't a big fruits and vegetable person as a child, but we rank number 45 in fruits and vegetables, eating fruits and vegetables in this state. High cholesterol, high blood pressure. We had a 19% increase in diabetes, okay? So you compound that, that creates that additional anxiety that people feel every day. And 70% of our healthcare costs are related to chronic conditions like heart disease, cancer, diabetes. And there's a cost to that. You add that all up, and you take a look at it, it costs us all dollars and cents. $576 billion cost us when we have poor health in this country. And that leads to problems like depression, absenteeism, presenteeism. So there's a cost when we add all this together. But here's the rest of the story. The good news is this, is a lot of these conditions can be prevented by just some minor tweaks in lifestyle behavior. How many of us heard that before? Okay? How many of us are challenging that every day? Absolutely, okay? But that's the good news. So last year when COVID hit, my daughter called me. She said, Dad, a lot of the schools are opening up free access to curriculum and lesson plans that they normally charge for. So she sent me a link, I did a search, and I found Harvard was offering this culture of health program. And I've read about it before, and it's a way, it was a program, a 9-week program, and was of course online, but you had an opportunity to visit and hear testimonies from other businesses across the country, people like myself, small employers, large employers, and their theory is workplace culture matters, okay? Particularly workplace culture of health. So it's a very interesting class, and I'm going to share with you some things that I learned today in this 9-week class. First of all, what is culture, okay? Well, culture is how we do things. You think about it. You have a culture. You have a culture at home. There's a culture within this organization. There's a culture within this community. There's a culture at work, okay? So what's a workplace culture, a culture of health look like? Well, a workplace culture of health not only looks at yourself, but also looks at the people that you live and you work with, and also in your community, and also the environment. That's those 4 pillars, okay? Those 4 pillars are community, employee health, consumer health, and environment health. But why do it, okay? Well, one of the studies they shared with us is they looked back at the 20-year study, and what they found is those businesses that have a flexible workplace culture perform better in every metric. Didn't matter if it's revenue growth, employee satisfaction, net profit. All those companies that had a workplace culture that was more flexible and appealing with multiple stakeholders. In other words, they engaged their employees and others involved in the business. They were much more successful. So I think that's a pretty good business case for somebody to look at having a workplace culture of health. And here's those 4 pillars. You can bring them small here. Consumer, employee, community, and environmental. On the consumer side, okay, an extreme, local pharmacy, okay, versus tobacco company, okay? So if you think about it, a consumer was what you do, what product and services that you offer. Local pharmacy, good. Tobacco, bad. Those are 2 extremes that they pointed out to us, okay? So you look at it, this room here, you guys are way, way on the upside of providing great consumer health in the community. Employee, we're going to come back to employee in just a second because that's what we're going to drill down on. Community, this is what was interesting to me. A community of health, okay? And if you think about it, a community is made up of individuals. Well, those individuals are employees. So employers want to hire healthy, happy employees, okay? Healthy, happy employees are making a living, so they become great consumers too. So the community, what you guys are doing today, and communities all across our country that are gathering like this, they're trying to build a better community, okay, for their family, for their businesses, so you can continue to grow. And the environmental pillar, that's simply making sure that the land and the sea and the water and the air is as clean as it can be. We all know the environmental impact to our own health, so that's an environmental impact businesses can have an influence on, maybe through a mission statement or social concerns. Go ahead. So we're going to take a closer look at employee health. What does that mean? Okay? There's a couple of examples up here. What is employee health? Well, it's concerned about workplace safety, employee benefit programs, and wage standards. On the other side, it's really about protection, prevention, and promotion. So those are two definitions that are circulating on what do we mean by employee health. But where it all begins, I found this quote by Teddy Roosevelt: "Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care." And that is so true. Doesn't matter where you are, if you're at home or at work, in the community, people want to know you care first, okay? Don't tell them, but let them know you care. So how do you do that? Well, this class we had opportunities to engage with each other, and of course with businesses as well. And this is a survey that they put together after one of the modules we went through. And it says, why might your employees, coworkers, describe your organization as an employer of choice? In other words, they ask this question is, why would you want to work here? Or more importantly, why would you invite somebody else to come and work with you? This has to do about attracting and retaining employees. And the percentages up here, if you look at employee benefits, retirement benefits, and health insurance, which specifically they mentioned, if you add all those up, that's about 38%. Work-life balance. 15 years ago, did anybody know what work-life balance was? They had no idea. Work-life balance is really what we're all trying to achieve right now, a lot of us. We're trying to make sure we work and we pay attention to our family at home. And sometimes that means shut our phones off and shut the computer off. Okay? So work-life balance is 23%. And then respect and trust was 32%, and social mission was 7%. So when you look at that, there's some items here that are important to employees that don't cost anything. Okay? Respect, trust, social mission. A lot of you have a mission and a vision statement where you work. If you don't, you might create one. But those are some things that employees are looking for, okay, that don't cost anything. And when you lay that next to this survey here, this is a survey that was done with the largest employers across the world, 1,000 employees or more. And it doesn't matter what region of the world you're from, U.S., Canada, Europe, Latin America, Asia, Pacific. Look at that up there. What were the most concerned, what was their most lifestyle concern of their employees was stress, okay? Stress. So it doesn't matter what part of the world you're from. And honestly, whether it's 1,000 employees or 5 employees, I think stress is a big factor, lifestyle factor everyone's concerned with. And then you look at the chart further, you see presenteeism. Presenteeism is basically somebody's distracted at work, okay, because they're concerned about something at home, or they have a chronic condition, and they're not able to focus. So they're at work, but they might only be 60% productive, or 50%, or 70%. They're not fully productive. Absenteeism, you're not at work, you're not productive, okay? But what I saw on this chart was that increasing presenteeism and stress. Those things jumped out at me right here. So how do you do this? So we put together just a little, image or a little story here to help give you some tips on what you can do in your own business, okay? And we call it just creating a bear culture, okay? B-E-A-R. That way I remember everything when I'm up here. B-E-A-R. Well, first of all, benefits, make sure you have a good benefit package. You do a good job of helping people understand where they get their energy from, provide education material to help them create that energy. Assess, know your numbers. I mean, you've heard that before. Know your numbers, blood pressure, okay? One thing, glucose, okay? Those type of things, cholesterol. And then, how do you manage stress? So go ahead, Karen. So this is an example of benefits on a budget. And you're going to hear more from Karen quickly in a few minutes on the panel. But this particular example here talks about how to leverage healthcare.gov. Healthcare.gov provides opportunities for individuals to purchase health insurance, and those that qualify get tax subsidies, okay? So a lot of businesses can't afford health insurance. We looked at the premium earlier, how expensive it is. They can't afford to offer it. So healthcare.gov, in this example here, was a great solution for a small business employer to offer benefits to their employees, educate them on where to get their benefits, and then put a modest, package together of telemedicine and a hospital indemnity plan. So they go in the hospital, they've got some funds to help pay for that deductible and that co-insurance. 2-week vacation, okay, and 10-day paid sick leave. So there's some ways that you can put a benefit package together, on a budget. And then what you're able to do, if people want to purchase other benefits, do it on a voluntary basis where employees can pick and choose what they want. It might be disability, okay? It might be accident coverage. But there's a way that you can put a benefit package together on a budget. And you'll hear more from healthcare.gov from Karen on the panel. Go ahead. All right. When it comes to energy, think about, and these are actual examples that businesses were doing that we had visited with before, okay? But what they did, they created a bulletin board. And employees brought in images that were important to them. It was their purpose, okay? They might have a particular charity that they really worked with, or it might be vacation, or it might be their family. But we all get energy from our purpose. So this employer gave an opportunity for those employees to bring in images of what was important to them, and it creates great conversation among all the employees. Who likes food? We all like food. We're not going to avoid the pizzas and the French fries and the hamburgers and all those things. My dad gave me a moderation speech years ago in high school. He wasn't talking about food, but we can all enjoy great pleasures of life. We just need to do it in moderation, okay? So this encourages people to bring in what is their favorite food. But when they bring it in, this bulletin board, also bring in a healthy recipe to share with somebody else. Go ahead and embrace, what people enjoy doing. You can't hide it. You can't avoid it. A recent trip I took to London, I was on the corner and this bus came by, and you can't read it, but it says, eating doesn't kill you, sofas do, okay? And it talks about a sedentary lifestyle. So I sat on the corner waiting for this bus to come back by again. My wife and kids said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I got to take a picture of this." So this is a picture of double-decker bus. And so a little quiz here. And how many of you exercise your dog that way? So little quiz. How much time do you think we spend sitting in our lifetime? How many think it's A? B? C? Same thing exercising. All right, let's see what the answer is. We spend 29% of our time in our lifetime sitting, okay? Sitting. And less than 1% exercising. This last week, and some of you might have saw this on the news, we had a World War II veteran paratrooper, a fellow named Tom Rice, had a celebration for him, turned 100 years old, and he jumped out of an airplane again. And he was asked, what was his secret to longevity? And he said, keep moving. Keep moving. Go ahead, next one. And he said, in the paragraph, get up, do something. It doesn't matter what your age is, just keep moving. So I thought that was pretty inspiring, and you might see that video floating around the next couple of weeks. Along with energy again, create awareness, okay? Create a bulletin board. Everybody's got their phones, they've got their calendar, they're following Instagram, following Facebook and all. But you know what? A simple bulletin board works wonders, okay? It's the modern equivalent to the water fountain, conversation. Put things in that bulletin board that are important to individuals and communities. Farmers markets, okay? Maybe organize a contest to find out or put your employees into teams and keep up with how many minutes they walk, okay? Or steps they take. Free health screenings. I was talking to the folks back here at Community Free Clinic, which is a wonderful resource for Morgan County. Advertise that. Let people know about it. People who don't have access to health care, that is a great resource that you have in Morgan County to get people healthy and help them get on the right track. Put things up about health screenings. But that bulletin board can be a place that people can post things that involve the community and individuals. And what you'll find when you put these bulletin boards up, whether it's favorite foods or community happenings that are positive, you'll find people in your business that are the leaders, that are healthcare leaders, that you can then rely on and use them as examples. And they'll pick up the mantle and run with you. Assessment. This is Johnson & Johnson was a company that was highlighted during our presentation, and they talked about the power of making sure people know where they stand in their health, know their numbers, wellness, questionnaires. And what they found is when they did it, they were able to achieve great results. Go ahead and put that next one. They were able to get great results. Oops, there you go. They had 93% of the people access their culture of health programs. 92% completed their health risk indicators, and 73% took the risk profile. So they were moving measurably forward in creating that culture of health. This is a great tool on the Heart Association. If you're looking for an assessment tool, it's free. You can go on, and it allows employees to take some of those next steps in measuring their own health numbers. And then routine exams. A lot of folks in this state still don't go and get routine exams. They avoid the doctor. But if you think about it, you go to your primary care physician for a routine exam once a year, you go to the dentist twice, and then you have your eyes examined. That's 4 different visits that you have with a healthcare professional. And they can assess your health, early diagnosis. All kinds of conditions can be seen through your eyes, okay? Or through your oral examinations through your mouth. So encourage people to go out and get those checkups, okay? Doctor, dentist, vision. All kinds of things can be revealed and catch them before they become problems. And then the last is relax, okay? Stress. Stress is that #1 factor that employers are concerned with. And when people are stressed, they aren't productive. So these are simple techniques that really help everything. They help us manage our lives at home, they help manage our lives at work. So look for ways to communicate stress relievers to your employees that are out there. And then here's your checklist. We can't cover everything in this talk this morning, so on your table, you've got a little checklist there. If you want more information on any of these items, just check them, mark what you like, write down your name, number, email, and we'll get more information to you, whether it's benefits on the budget, or if you want more information about how to communicate, lunch and learns on energy, whatever it might be. So just mark it, leave it, and we'll pick it up afterwards. And then, as Missy mentioned, Jamie is the one that we're up here. The reason why we're here, she asked us to come into town and visit with you. So we appreciate Jamie and what she does in the community. Let me stop there and see if I have any questions. I know we're tight on time, but any questions from anybody? If you have any, just write them down and we'll get with you, okay? Thank you.
Hey folks, good morning. Glad to have y'all here today. I'm going to, I guess we turned on the fire alarm somewhere. We've got 2 mics up here. Just want to make sure that they can be heard here. Good here? Good here? At this time, I'm going to invite our panel to come up here and join us. This is a 1-minute break for a recreation, coffee, or whatever you need to do, then we'll get started. So feel free.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. All right, folks, if you can start making your way back to your seat, we want to make sure that we honor your time this morning and don't keep you long as what we intended to do. All right, folks, good morning. My name is Daxton Mays. I am the chair of the Governmental Affairs and Advocacy Committee for the Hartselle Area Chamber of Commerce. Our main mission is to make sure that we give opportunities for our members and our community to hear the platforms that people share that are really impacting us today. Healthcare being one of those. Part of our programming, and also you'll see state of the schools, state of the city addresses as we move on through the year. So again, glad to have you here today. We've got an excellent panel here to hear about what's going on in the healthcare industry, specifically here in Hartselle, and just what that looks like. When Missy and myself were talking about questions for this panel, she said, "Well, what kind of health questions do we need?" And I said, "Well, I mean, the things that important to me are, is there any way I can regrow hair, or can I lose weight, or something like that?" And she said, "No, that's not what really we're getting at. So that's what matters to me. So, but nonetheless, we polled our membership and really have a list of questions that our members were concerned about that are going to affect their business, going to affect how they do business, and really want to hear about things that are being done to help them in that regard. So what we're going to do to start with, we've got our panel here, 5 individuals kind of across the healthcare sector. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, the name, what business they represent, and what role they play in that business. So we're going to start now with Ms. Karen Quigley.
Good morning. I am Karen Quigley, and I am the benefits arm for Jamie Bates Allstate Agency. A lot of people don't know that Allstate offers benefits, but we do. We're in the protection business, so we work through Jamie to service the business community here in Hartselle.
I'm Alan Walker. I'm a physician at Hartselle Family Medicine along with Dr. J. Paul. I know it doesn't, I don't look like it, but I've been here 31 years now. So believe that or not, I sometimes have a hard time believing that. Back in around 2010 when the hospital closed, Hartselle took a huge hit as far as healthcare is concerned. We looked back at letters in 2013. Dr. Cole and I had discussions with Paul Peterson about developing a clinic together, and Jay and I talked about it, and we thought that we would invite the group that we have the most referrals to see if they would enter into a program with us to build a new clinic in town, with the understanding that nothing positive had happened in Hartselle for a long time as far as healthcare. This was our chance to make an impact. So Dr. Ellis and Dr. Tapscott and his group, they were brought in, and we built our new clinic about 3 years ago. Serendipitously, we expanded our quick clinic in December before the pandemic hit. So we were lucky enough to access another area where we actually have just turned it into essentially a COVID clinic. It's a sick clinic. Anybody who has COVID symptoms from our own practice comes in, and they're evaluated and treated. So I guess we were a little bit lucky in that regard that we had that space available and we had access to it. But it's exciting times in Hartselle right now. I think there's a lot of change coming as far as the healthcare industry. There's new facilities that are going to be opening, some new people into the area, and I think we're all excited to see that.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Lisa Courtney. I am the Vice President of Physician Services at Coleman Regional. In my role, I am responsible for physician recruiting, and I am overall responsible for the operations of our employed clinic network. So any of our employed physicians, our urgent cares, and some of the diagnostic centers, so the stuff that's going into here at Hartselle.
I'm Russell Ellis. I know a lot of you been around this area the majority of my life, other than college and medical school residency. Pretty much been here. I'm glad to be back, actually. I've been here 19 years now at the Kid Orthopedic Clinic. A couple of my partners, Stacey Tapscott and Justin Howard, are here with us today, along with Marcia Buchanan and Angie Terry, who work with us. We provide, of course, orthopedic musculoskeletal care for the area. We volunteer to do sports physicals for the area schools every year. That's always a challenge, especially where you've got COVID and things like that going on. We provide sideline coverage for a lot of the ball games. I'll be at a ball game tonight on the sideline. Trying to be there. I'm needed. Most of the time, I'm not. Thankfully, but we do have now a second office, as Alan was referencing, here in Hartselle, in order to better provide health care. And there are 6 physicians and 4 nurse practitioners that we have. One way I guess that we're contributing to things is we have 48 employees, which I didn't realize we had that many. I didn't think. And we do provide health care coverage. So we're trying to do our part. And hopefully, as our speaker earlier said, create a culture that is healthy and helpful. Thanks.
I'm Kelly Powers. I'm the president of the Decatur Morgan Hospitals. That is Decatur Morgan, the main hospital, which is almost 300 beds. Parkway, 120 beds, and then our Decatur Morgan site hospital, which is 64 beds. I've been here almost a year, well, a little over a year. Seems like just last week due to COVID. And excited about the Hartselle area and all the growth that's down here. We have a clinic down here with several physicians and a lot of other things planned for the area. A lot of growth in the Decatur area and all the things we're doing there. Real involved in our emergency room growth, physician recruiting, and a lot of things like that. So I'm just excited to be here and be part of this team.
Very good. But thank y'all so much. Kelly, hang on to the mic. 2 things. I told our panel, if they get blinded by this sun, just move their chairs. So if you see them playing musical chairs, you're trying to keep their eyesight. And really just a healthy community, I think, leads to a vibrant community. I think those 2 go hand in hand. So just a good opportunity for us to hear about the vibrancy of the healthcare industry here in Hartselle. This is going to be a question for the entire panel. Kelly, if you'll start. What changes have been made in your services and business to the industry, to business and industry leaders and to the community in Hartselle for the last 2 to 5 years?
Well, I can speak to the last year. I do have a lot of people with me today, but the one thing we've done is consolidated all of our providers into the building, I guess close to here, and we're renovating that right now and adding more providers. Grace Kane Williams is a pediatrician here, and she starts in September. Some of you may know her already. And adding more providers. I feel like you need to have physicians just like Poland Walker and orthopedic clinic, and nurse practitioners to provide care here for your employees. So we have a lot of other things planned, not anything we're ready to roll out at the current moment. Definitely not in urgent care because I think you have plenty of those. But anyway, anything that we can do and see you, as you know, Decatur Morgan is what, about 10 miles or so down the road. So we provide a lot of great things to Hartselle and have a lot of the people that live here work at our hospital. So we work well with Hartselle on a day-to-day basis.
Very good. Thank you. Russell, same question to you.
Well, we're going to keep showing up and trying to do a good job, do the best we can. We've got, like I said, we've got 6 physicians who are well trained. In fact, I think that as well trained as you're going to find. 3 of our guys, Randy Grill, Scott Sharp, and Justin Howard, all trained at the Campbell Clinic. That's one of the premier orthopedic residency programs. Dr. Tapp Scott was University of Tennessee. Dr. Halleck was University of West Virginia. Several of us have fellowship training. Dr. Halleck in sports medicine, Dr. Tapp Scott in sports medicine and shoulder, Dr. Dang in foot and ankle, myself in sports medicine. So we're going to try to continue to provide as good a health care as we possibly can. And we try to be available. If there are injuries, we're trying to get those in the same day or within 24 hours. Now, if somebody calls up, want to be seen that day for back pain that they've had for 6 months, well, that's a little bit of a different category, right? But somebody that's been hurt, we're going to get them in and try to get them taken care of, and hopefully, navigate some of these changes that are coming. What I see a little bit moving forward, so there's added pressures nowadays. I think some of the highest levels of policymakers at the federal government trying to put some more market pressures on healthcare providers, and so we're seeing that. We're seeing a lot of regulatory stuff, of course. And that just makes it more difficult for us to sort of continue to provide healthcare plus run a business. They don't put us through a business school in medical school. And so what I think you're going to see less over the next several years. You're going to see less physician-owned practices. You're going to see more employed physicians. So it's going to be a little bit different from what we're kind of our concept is, and so forth. That's going to, I don't know how long that's going to affect things. There's always that law of unintended consequences that's going to occur. Like I said, we're just going to keep showing up, trying to do the best job we can. And you're big. Hey, look, if you go to medical school now, Jay testified to this, you sort of quit getting your feelings hurt. If there's anything that we can do better, you're not going to hurt our feelings. We would really like to know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Look, Lisa, same question to you. What changes have been made in your business, in your services to the business and industry leaders over the past 35 years?
Well, we are relatively new to being in Hartselle. We have recently opened up a rotating specialty clinic here in Hartselle, which is just down the road a little bit on 31. We have brought 8 different specialties that they rotate every day coming up, so we have a different type of specialty each day. One of the things is mental health, and I know that is something that we struggle with across the state, so we do have a psychiatrist that comes up one day a week, and I think that that's been a pretty good benefit so far to the community. I think it can help businesses too if you're struggling a little bit with your employees who are just going through a tough time due to COVID or any other. Getting into a psychiatrist or a therapist is sometimes difficult. So we're hoping that we're providing some specialties here that have easy access for the other providers here for businesses that are here. And then in October, we are opening a diagnostic clinic. So we will offer MRI, CT, basic X-ray, mammogram, vision ultrasound, and along with the urgent care. And then we will also have a presence for our occupational medicine clinic up here. So that will help some businesses, whether we can come on site and do some workplace wellness assessments for you, or we can do some televisits to keep your patients, your employees at work, but still give them quick access to healthcare just for a quick diagnosis, or if it's a workplace injury or something like that, they can be seen fast. And so we really just want to partner with everybody who is already here in Hartselle. We want to make good relationships and be able to just expand what the direction that Hartselle's already growing and the growth that is already here now.
Very good, thank you.
I guess our biggest change actually started about 5 years ago when we added a nurse practitioner to our practice. Ashley Drake. About 3 years ago, we built a new building, so we moved into it, and thought we had plenty of space. And it wasn't very long until we actually had to expand, where there's really not a lot of expansion space there. So we're full again. We have 2 of our nurse practitioners here, Anna and Haley, and we have a nurse practitioner in New Orleans that is going to join us this December. So we've expanded, and we're kind of bursting at the seams in our office. I guess we were lucky in the quick clinic to have a venue where we could see the patients with suspected coronavirus. And there's still a lot of other things that are going around, so it's not just COVID that we see. There's a lot of RSV right now. We see a lot of strep throat, but there's no way to know until you actually test people to figure out what they have. So we've been very blessed to have that resource that's actually a part of our clinic, but still separated so that we can kind of separate sick and well visits. So we've been very blessed with that. But again, we're busy. We're bursting at the seams from the inside, and that's a good thing for the community in the area. We've had a lot of growth, and we're excited to see what the next 5 years brings.
Very good, thank you. Karen, same question to you. Just changes that your business has made over the last 3 to 5 years to better serve the Hartselle area.
I think the fact that Jamie Bates is here in Hartselle is a really good thing, and that has allowed us to be able to come in and help educate the business owners on the options and strategies for providing affordable benefits. So I think that's our focus, and the fact that Jamie came here is a big benefit and asset to the community.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. We're going to move on beyond just kind of service-based stuff and really talk about the healthcare industry as a whole. Question for you, and we'll just come back down the line. 67% of the people that we surveyed expressed some level of confidence that healthcare is headed in the right direction. How do you see the healthcare industry changing over the next 10 years?
I guess from the area that I focus on is the health insurance and the benefit packages that employers can offer, is the fact that I do think that we will probably be going back to more of a catastrophic type medical insurance plan, just because of the affordability of it. We've all gotten used to, silver plans with, low deductibles and that kind of thing. But I think going forward with the increase, there will be increased costs in the premiums. So I think there's the option to probably go more with a catastrophic plan and partner it with some gap plans, which keeps it affordable for everyone. So I think that would be how I would see it from my point of view.
Very good. Same to you, Dr. Walker. What do you see coming in the next 10 years?
That's a good question. I think COVID is throwing a monkey wrench into everything. So to break out the crystal ball, this pandemic, we're going to get past. As time goes along, the healthcare industry will have to adjust accordingly. I think the future is bright. I'll be optimistic. Pandemics have always gone away in the past. It's tough while you're going through them. But you see the light on the other end of the tunnel. So I'm very optimistic. I don't know if our care will change much over the next 5 to 10 years. We'll keep doing what we're doing and keep playing along.
I think that you're going to see more of a focus on employees and patients trying to be involved in their own healthcare, more preventative medicine, more early diagnosis, to where there's some ownership. Younger patients are asking more questions, where older patients sometimes just followed blindly with whatever they thought, should be done or whatever they're being told to be done. Younger patients nowadays are asking more questions to why. And so I think that there's going to be a little bit more involvement in them participating in their healthcare, which I think is a good thing. And more education on how to keep you healthy and how to really manage some of the disease states that can get out of control. I think that's what we all kind of hope that patients will be more involved a little bit. So, but I do see that a younger shift in the workforce and in our patient base is going to have a little bit more direction in preventative care.
I guess a little bit ahead of you there on that last one. I do think that there's going to be probably changing the way healthcare is going to be delivered as physician practices. And I do think there's probably more people that kind of follow that with sort of a self-diagnosis. Internet's out there. I've been reading articles about where people are advocating for artificial intelligence and so forth. And there's nothing that people don't think that a little technology isn't going to solve, right? And that's sort of, I think, what you'll continue to see, and then continue to see more market pressures and things of that nature placed on the healthcare providers and so forth. And I think that's a policy levels are coming down at the highest level.
I agree with everything they said. I want to add to that technology. Technology is changing at lightning speeds. At Decatur Morgan, we have an orthopedic robot. We have 2 state-of-the-art Da Vinci robots, and we're continuing to add that technology. The latest and greatest ultrasound, the latest and greatest MRI and CT. I think you'll continue to see that, and COVID has pushed us forward on a lot of that. We get so much data now that we did not get before. So we may have data on you that you don't even know we have. So with just industry, credit cards and different things like that, artificial intelligence, a lot of our technology is going that way. So I think you're about to see a shift, which I think is great, because we want to make sure that everybody has everything they need to make the right healthcare decision and make it early on. So I think you're going to see a lot of that going forward.
Very good. Kelly, you hang on the mic. We're going to move on to our next question. Again, the chamber is a representative of business and small business in the community. So really the concerns come out of the business community. When asked if these changes that we've just talked about in the next 10 years will make it easier or harder for small business to be able to do business in the Hartselle area, the survey consensus was that businesses are somewhat unsure. How are you working to partner with small businesses to respond to their needs?
Well, actually, my daughter has a small business in another town, and so I know that firsthand by her employees' needs, and she can't offer health insurance to her employees, and that's a hard thing. But I love what all the last presenters said. There's so many ways we can partner together. Health fairs. We could even do a community-wide health challenge. You know, let's all work together to see if we can lose weight. Because I'm right there with you. You know, trying to make sure we check people's blood pressure and their A1C. I mean, there are people walking around that have no idea they're diabetic. And then sometimes it's too late. So I think partnering, you know, with the chamber and other businesses to do things like that. We have our mobile medical unit, and as soon as COVID dies down some, and we're not giving vaccines or doing testing, you know, we'll work more with the businesses here in Hartselle to do things like that.
Good, very good. Same question to you, Russell. How was your practice working to partner with small businesses to respond to their needs?
Well, I guess we are a small business itself, and so if we can kind of help with being able to see people, you know us. I mean, we live here, work here. You got somebody that comes into work, and they did something over the weekend. And, hey, just give us a call. We'll get them in. We'll get them seen. We'll do whatever we need to do to help take care of them moving forward. So we're one of you. We want to do the best we can to move everything forward with positive issues as we can.
Very good. Thank you. Lisa, same question.
Kind of just expanding on what both of us they said. Technology, using telemedicine there with the small business so that you can keep your employees at work while still getting a doctor's visit. Us coming out to your business and taking care of all of your employees at one time, doing their annual visits, getting patients in fast. If you have somebody that's having an urgent need, whether it be you need to see a cardiologist, you need to see psychiatry or pulmonology or whoever, being able to get them in very fast so that we can get your employees healthy and back to work as soon as possible, whether that be through an on-site visit, whether it be through telemedicine, or through it be that they need to come to our clinic and just getting everybody seen fast.
I agree with the last two speakers, well, everybody. One of the things that we've learned with this coronavirus pandemic is we have to be a lot more flexible. I would have never, ever thought we would be going out to cars to get vaccinations or draw A1Cs or blood work. It's been a very different and difficult time. And so I think flexibility, I think the fact that we are a small business and we have to be responsive to other businesses around us, it remains important. And the fact that we're a family medicine clinic, we tend to know pretty much everybody in the family. So it's up to us to deliver the care that people need. And that has changed a little bit over time. It's with the challenges that we face, you have to adapt to it.
I think if you leave here with anything else today, I want you to feel comfortable knowing there are affordable options for offering employee benefits. Now we have options for, in the past it was always it has to be a group health plan. That's not the case anymore. We can use healthcare.gov. And I think to help it be easier for you to offer those options is by us having these meetings like this and helping you know what those options are and helping educate you. So I just want you to know there are options for affordable insurance. And yes, we all agree in the wellness and the preventative. And I guess what I focus on is if they need the care, we want them to have coverage. And just know there's affordable options out there, and there's strategies. So you don't have to break the bank as an employer to offer affordable health insurance and benefits.
Very good, Karen. Thank you so much. We've got about 15 minutes left and 4 more questions to go through. Just going to give y'all a time check where we're at. This question is going to be directed to Dr. Walker and working back this way. Our survey respondents shared their top concerns from the quality of Hartselle area healthcare were escalating healthcare costs, a shortage of qualified healthcare workers, and legislative, federal, and state policies that impact the healthcare industry. What priorities do you have to meet these challenges?
Once upon a time, when we had hospital in Hartselle, we had an emergency department. One of the things that I have been very focused on and would love to see, and we've actually made some attempts, which we have an emergency department's freestanding clinic in town. I know that as our community grows in size, the needs of the community change. That's one of the areas that I would like to see improved. Our office, unfortunately, we had to kind of lock new patients for a period of time with this COVID pandemic. We've opened up our panels, and we're kind of getting overwhelmed again with the number of requests for a physician. I don't know how many new patients we can accept. So that's a challenge. Is we have to have more providers in the area. I think that is being addressed by a couple of organizations. So I think that will improve as time goes along. So I am excited about that. But outside of that, I think the big needs in our community that I would love to see would be extended beyond probably more so than anything else.
All right, Lisa, same question to you.
So we've been doing a lot of talking with the community, asking what the community wants and the community needs. And I agree that just adding more providers when we have physicians who are so overwhelmed because we need more providers here. We are helping try to recruit and fill some of that gaps a little bit, bringing different type of specialists here so that you don't necessarily have to travel, but that people can stay here at home. Home is not very far down the road, but we do recognize that even leaving just a little bit takes time out of the community's day, and it's just easier to get the care here locally. So we are trying to expand the needs as Hartselle grows, looking to what other options need to happen here in Hartselle. We're definitely keeping an eye on that and want to be able to address any of those issues as they come up. As far as regulatory concerns go, I think that most healthcare providers were as shocked as everybody else is when the new reg is brought down on us, and we kind of just talk about being flexible during COVID. You have to be flexible when new regulations come too. So we always keep our eye on it. I don't know that there's anything that we can do to just address and say, hey, we're going to magically wave a wand and fix what might come down. But making sure that we are pivoting and still able to provide the care here in Hartselle despite whatever regulations might come.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Russell, kind of same to you. Escalating healthcare costs, shortage of qualified providers in some regard, and then just any policies that are hindering y'all's providing of services.
Well, I think that, and I'm certainly an expert, would probably say that anybody says that they really are an expert on healthcare and the entirety of it, you probably don't need to listen to them because it is so complicated and so complex. It's like I drive through some of these towns and you see schools out in the community where you can tell they started with one building and then they need another building and they just sort of stuck it there. There was no really long-term plan. Y'all seen these schools out in smaller communities, and they've got, it's just a hodgepodge of a lot of different things. And it's just been added on as time went by, and that's what the healthcare system is like here. It's just once the federal government got into the healthcare business, that's really, in my mind, what started the escalation of healthcare costs. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, that we're trying to provide, healthcare coverage for our populations of ages. I mean, that's a good thing, but it's contributed to the healthcare costs because somebody's not doing what they're supposed to, and they're kind of working the system. Well, then they've got to have regulations to cover that. And there's all these, there's these kickback statutes, STAR clause, the fraud policies, and all these other things that are there. And I said before, we got 48 employees. And several of those employees are because we got to have people to go through all of those regulatory things. Now, hopefully, we're going to continue to provide good care. Like I said earlier, we've got a number of good physicians. I think they're extremely well trained. We've got very well trained nurse practitioners that can help continue to meet the demand and so forth. And as we see it increasing, we're going to recruit more to our area. But from a legislative standpoint, it's every time you add something new, again, that law of unintended consequences occurs and creates another issue that, I didn't see that coming.
Very good, thank you. Ms. Powers, thank you.
Well, I want to first say a shout out to Decatur Orthopedics. I meant to say this earlier. They do a great job, and so there's no need to drive anywhere else for orthopedic care. I'll put them up against anybody in healthcare over 31 years, and their quality and outcomes are excellent. And all three of these guys right here are pretty humble, so they're probably not going to jump out front and say that, but I just want you to know that. You need orthopedic care, you need to see them. I work a lot, Arthur and I think you may have left, but we're working right now on trying to figure out how we can give nursing scholarships here in Morgan County to increase the amount of nurses we have, because as you know, we have a shortage there. We're also at Decatur, we have ACOM students out of Dothan, and we're working to start a residency program there where we can have as many as 18 residence physicians graduating on a rotating basis, internal medicine or family practice. We haven't quite decided yet, with psychiatry as well. I'm on a board at Blue Cross. I work with them to try to figure out how we can decrease the cost of the exchange product and what we can add to that to make it more valuable to the person purchasing it. I also work all the time with Medicaid, the governor, to try to figure out how we can expand Medicaid. That would help a lot of people in the have insurance that work, say, at a where they make a lower wage. They would benefit from the expansion of Medicaid, which would give them immediate health care insurance to them. So I'm always constantly trying to figure out how we can do things better and be smarter, because there are a lot of shortages, not only in physician and nurse practitioners, but also in nurses and the other people working in healthcare. I'm sure you all see that as well. So we got to figure out how to backfill all of that so we can take care of all the needs.
Sure. Absolutely, thank you so much. All right, moving on to our next question. This question is going to be directed to Kelly, Lisa, and Karen. Only about half of the survey respondents currently provides group health insurance to their employees. Those that did not say it stems from the difficulty of working with insurance companies and the cost. What advice do you have for small businesses trying to navigate escalating healthcare costs and their desire to provide healthcare coverage for their employees?
Well, I touched on that a little bit. I think if we could expand Medicaid, that would get a fair amount of the employees, people that probably make, anywhere from $12 an hour down, if they were single, could qualify for Medicaid. And it might even help their family as well. There are some products on the exchange, mainly for Blue Cross product, but again, it has a high deductible, but it is a lower premium. I think just working with those employees to try to see how we could maybe even subsidize, some of that for them. And also, there are other products, and I know Karen will talk more about it, like flexible benefits, where you can actually put money in and things like that to help your employees pay for their insurance. It's tax deductible to some of the companies. So pretty much just all trying to work together to see what we can do. We also, we are a not-for-profit governmental healthcare authority. We do not get any tax money here in Morgan County, but we do work with people. We negotiate things. If somebody needs something, we have a self-pay price, and we work really hard to make sure that they get what they need, and we have a charity application to fill that out. So a lot of these people would qualify for that.
Very good. Lisa, same question to you.
My answer is pretty much very similar to what Kelly says. Medicaid expansion in Alabama would help a lot. Let you talk more about the exchange, but there are a lot of products out there on the exchange and partnering with companies who can try to help get better rates on the exchange and help teach you how to work the program. But there's also things of just lowering your overall employees. If you don't help here, then that's going to lower your overall cost. So working with us or someone else to go in and do health risk assessments, educate, do community awareness programs within your businesses to help get your employees healthier will overall reduce your healthcare costs. It won't be allowing you necessarily to offer benefits that are better cost, but those of you who do offer benefits, your overall benefits for self-insured will go down if your patients are healthy. So trying to get a lot of preventative stuff done will help.
Absolutely. Karen, same question to you. Can you shed some light on just the ability to get coverage for small business?
Okay, so the elephant in the room is affordable health insurance, right? And, you know, employees who say employees can't afford it, I can't afford it, as a small business owner to contribute to it. Know that there are options there, and the first thing you need to do is kind of analyze what is the demographics of your employee base. If you have employees that make, say, $15, up to $15 or $20 an hour, they're single, say they're 35 years old, I can tell you in Morgan County right now on healthcare.gov, male, single, non-tobacco, 35 years old, makes $30,000 a year, well, that's a magic $15 an hour rate. He can get a silver Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance plan for $46 a month, or he can get a bronze plan at no cost. So there are options on healthcare.gov that may not be a good fit for your demographic, so you may want to go to a group plan. And if you're going to a group plan, you might want to look at, if I have to go with a high deductible to be able to provide affordable premiums, can I partner it with a medical gap plan that's going to provide that first dollar coverage? Those are the strategies and the options that are available. You just have to kind of run some analysis and kind of work through that to figure out what is the best for your employees. It's not a one-size-fits-all anymore. And the key, the best distribution for health insurance is through the employer. Because and you can actually help them provide guidance, access, education, and communication on what you're offering, and it may not cost you anything. So just know that that is available, and it's not a lost cause. Things are a lot better now. There's options.
Very good, Karen. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to our last question today, and we'll start with Karen. You can start this one. Unfortunately, COVID is still with us. We all know that, and they're all taking steps to move in the right direction and keep our businesses going. How can businesses work in partnership with our healthcare providers to safeguard our community and enable the business to fulfill their responsibility to respect civic freedoms and human rights for their employees?
Wow, good question. Okay. I think, you know, I saw something on the news this morning about Delta Airlines is getting ready to penalize their employees if they don't have the vaccine, and it's going to cost them a higher premium. It is a challenging situation because you do have some, you know, employees and they feel like their civil rights are being impacted. So I think it's just, as an employer, you have to create what is best for your environment there. I don't know that there's an easy answer. Right now, I think it's kind of up in the air, but, you know, right now, the mask, the vaccination, all those are options, but I think you have to do what's comfortable.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Walker.
I would start to be a little more optimistic if you, and I know we're in the middle of the Delta variant week right now, but if you look at our numbers, sometimes we all look at the negative and we don't celebrate the wins. Approximately 90% of our patients 65 years of age or older are vaccinated. That is a huge number. That should be first and foremost one of the things that's brought out to the public. And that's why with this Delta variant, even though a lot of people are in the hospital, the mortality rates are a little lower, because the people most at risk primarily are vaccinated. Now, we all have our patients that, Jacob talked to this, I've got patients that have never taken a vaccine, will never take a vaccine in their entire lifetime. And they may be 85 years of age. I'm not going to talk them into it. I don't want to force them into it. If they live 85 years, I think they deserve the rights to make a choice for themselves. But I did want to be optimistic with this. So we've actually done well. I know there's some other countries that are a lot smaller that have higher vaccination rates, but there's some things that we should be proud of, and that's one of the areas that I think we have not made the message clear, and that's unfortunate because we've done a lot of positives to this pandemic. We're not out of the pandemic yet. The Delta variants, obviously, I hate to say the vaccine passports are kind of out now. With the Delta variants, that ship sailed. People who have been vaccinated can now pass the virus along, so you cannot isolate individuals anymore and not expect the virus to spread. It's going to take some immunity, so whether you get immunity by the vaccine or whether you get it by natural infection or a combination of both, which unfortunately seems to be a little more likely now. We're going to get there. I think we're going to have other variants that will peak in the future, but I think the peaks will be smaller. I think the mortality rate will be smaller with each and every succeeding peak that we have. So as we develop resistance, this pandemic will go away. Time frame, I wish I could tell. I don't have a crystal ball. When this first started, about 3 years. We're already well into a year and a half, and we don't see a whole lot of it inside. Although there has been improvements. There are new medications that are being evaluated. So there's some avenues that we can make a difference. And I think those are, I think we're on the cusp. So I'm going to be a little more optimistic with things and actually tell the country, I think our overall vaccination rate for adults is about 62%. That's not bad for a country this size in that short a time frame. So we just have to keep plugging along.
Very good. Thank you much, Dr. Walker. Lisa, same question to you.
We're right. We are probably right in the middle of the peak of the Delta variant right now, and everybody is seeing a lot. Just when we thought we were possibly getting over it, it's kind of hit another wave, and employers are suffering because more people are out, and it does seem to be hitting a younger population than it did before. Possibly that's because a lot of the younger population did not get vaccinated, or we do have a lot of that older population vaccinated, maybe not. We're all still learning from it. I think that you're going to have employers across the state that are requiring the vaccine in order to work. You're going to have, especially in Alabama, much more who are not going to require it. Frankly, if you require it, you're going to lower your employee pool, and we're all kind of struggling right now on just getting people to work. So I think that's probably a lot of people's hesitation. So offer it. If you have a large people who want to get it, and you reach out to us and say, hey, can you come to our site and we'll give the vaccine? Awesome. We'll be more than happy to do that for you. Anything that we can do, if it needs to be a lot of testing. If we need to come out and do it in a group, you have somebody that, hey, you need it fast, and then they're doing the testing fast, so that gets your employees at least tested and back to work if they're negative. So just everybody be in there for your employees. But, we all just kind of got to work through it. Obviously, I've got my mask up here now, but I've taken it off because you can't hear me if I put it on. But doing the best we can to work through it. But know that if you do have people who want to be vaccinated, I think that there's a lot of resources out there now. And a lot of people will come to you to be vaccinated, to get your people vaccinated. We'll be more than happy to do that. And same with testing. So.
Very good. Dr. Ellis, probably a little bit different in the orthopedic world than primary care and hospital, but what is your take on this question about how your business can partner with others to just kind of help the situation?
Well, I just echo what Alan said earlier, trying to be in some ways optimistic, but I think probably more than anything is just to be very honest and forthright when we're communicating communicating with anybody, like says, orthopedic practice, we're not dealing with that directly as much, but we still get asked those questions. So we want to be the resource we can be, but to be as upfront and transparent as we can. And sometimes that's to admit, we just don't know. I think what we're dealing with now is a sort of credibility vacuum, because where you've got national leaders saying things at one point and then contradicting themselves at another point, people don't really trust anybody. Or that trust level is very low here. And then whether or not to get vaccinated has been met or been responded to by ridicule. And you're not going to ridicule somebody into getting a vaccine. You just need to say, hey, look, we think this is your best chance of avoiding getting really sick. And then, there's still, in my mind, individual rights. And so you don't want to trample those. I mean, it would be a little different if this was Ebola and it was transmitted that way. It's got a 50% mortality rate. And you're like, no, look, I don't care what, you don't get this vaccine. But we just need to be respectful and try to be honest and maybe step into that credibility void, try to help people make good decisions.
It's like very good, thank you. Ms. Powers, same question to you.
I agree with everything they said. I think the main thing is education. I have a 29-year-old and a 26-year-old children, and they're constantly, my son's like, why is everybody not taking ivermectin? You've got to have correct information. Everything that's on the internet is not correct. So I would look to these healthcare providers to tell you, about the vaccine and, any risk of taking it. But also they need to tell you, and we can tell you, the risk of not taking it, because we see that every day in the hospital. And we came down here before and did a lot of vaccine clinics at your workplace, and we're, as Jerry said, we're ready to do that again. We want to vaccinate as many people as possible and test as many people as possible. But also, I think that the people need to get real out and understand the real true implications. If we get to the point where we have to ration healthcare, and believe me, we might not be too far from that, you will decide who lives and who dies. And I don't want to be in that situation. Montgomery, Alabama, and Mobile are pretty close. And we all have a policy that we go by on that. The vaccine has not been added to it yet, but at some point you may look and say, hey, you're vaccinated, but you're not vaccinated. So being unvaccinated might put you in a negative light when it comes to who gets resources. Most of our hospitals, as you know, are understaffed. We've maxed out our vents. And I know almost the same way. We have people calling all the time. I had a patient last night from Heathcare, 48-year-old. He needs an ICU bed and there's not room. So I can't tell you if he's going to make it through the day or not because there's nowhere to put him. So those are really true life stories that we need to get out in the community, because if there's somebody holding out on taking a vaccine that's just saying, hey, I just don't really like needles, or I just, at some point we can't give it to you when you come and you're about to die. We do have people that beg for it at the end. So I think we just need to make sure that people get reality of what is really going on.
Sure, absolutely. Well, thank y'all. Tough question. Thank you for your transparent answers. We appreciate it. At this time, that's going to wrap up our panel discussion. I hope that was very informative to each of you. And what I'd like to ask you is to give our panel a round of applause for this. You're welcome to head back to your seats. This time I'm going to turn over to Mike Tucker for Life Work Physical Therapy to close us out and get us on the road.
All right. All right. Well, thank you guys for giving up your time this morning. I want to say again, thank you to our panel, thank you to our speakers, thank you to Daxton for moderating for us. And on behalf of the Chamber, I would like to thank our sponsors, Hartselle Family Medicine as the presenting sponsor, Coleman Regional Hartselle Health Park as a gold sponsor, and also Heathcare Orthopedics. So thank you guys very much for helping make this event a success. And I want us to all look around the room. As I look around the room, there are people at every table that I work with every day. Okay, we're all in this together. And some of the questions, especially this last one, when Ms. Powers was talking about a 48-year-old not having a bed. Those are the things that we are all facing every day. You know, our landscape here in Hartselle with our healthcare has changed a lot. We've heard it go all the way back from where Dr. Walker talked about losing a hospital in 2010. We've seen a lot of changes recently. We've got a lot more coming. I'm with you. I'm very optimistic. I think they're very positive. We at the chamber here value your feedback. That's where I'm going with this. I'm not going to call this the first annual State of Healthcare because I don't want to say that we're necessarily going to do this every year on an annual basis. But at the same time, you know, we have seen a lot of positive momentum through the chamber as well. That affects our industry, our small businesses, and our membership. And we're trying to create more relevance with our chamber. And this is one of those things that helps each of us as providers. It helps our employers. It helps our community. So on your table, there is a survey there. And I would like to invite each of you guys to take some time to fill that out before you leave. On the very back side of the survey, there's actually a question there to let us know if you're interested in being a part of planning or sponsoring the next event. You know, this is something very important. And I think you'll see, even if we did do it next year, I think you would have numerous things to talk about that would have occurred or would have transpired in 365 days from today. Just because you can look at the construction that's happening just in Hartselle and just see that things are going to be changing. So I think an update a year from now is not a bad thing, to be honest with you. So with that being said, what I would like to do, I'm going to take the liberty to do this myself, even though it's not on the agenda. Like I said, look around this room. We're all in this together. What I would like to do is close this in prayer. That's what I would like to do. Because there are providers in this room that are on the front lines every day. There are people in this room that your patients are coming in and trusting you every day with what you're telling them. Okay? We need wisdom. We need guidance. We need that from somebody who's a whole lot smarter than me, and that's who I depend on. And I would encourage you to do the same. So I would like to close this in prayer. You guys have a great day. We appreciate everybody coming. Once we close, then you guys are excused. So let me do that. Dear Heavenly Father God, we just humbly come before you now. Just knowing the people that are in this room, just from our physicians, our civic leaders, our nurse practitioners, our ancillary providers, God, these are people who are, Lord, we have a mission field in front of us every day. Whether it be our patients, our co-workers, and God, I pray that we'll take that serious, but more than anything, God, I just pray that you would give us just the divine wisdom, that you would give us strength and courage and boldness to do what we have to do to take care of this community. God, we appreciate the way you blessed us, individually and corporately, and forgive us for taking that for granted. And so, Father, we just, as we go about our days and our routines each and every day, I just pray that your presence be with us. And I ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
No, you're fine.